This video is a part 2 of a rustic table that I am building, and I changed my mind on making this a rustic table because I saw this paint at the store and I thought the table would look very nice in that color. And if you haven't seen part 1, then I recommend you go watch it first to understand this video. There is a link in the description to see the first video, as well as a link to our Facebook page and Twitter. But in this video, I will be ripping down the cross pieces in half, cutting the boards for the top of the table, assembling, and painting the table. After sanding down the boards, I ripped them down to 2.5 inches. But as you can tell, I did something very dangerous, which is I did not install my riving knife. And the point of a riving knife is to prevent kickback, which is the board turning into the blade and the blade catching on it and throwing the piece of wood you're cutting. Luckily for me, that did not happen. And another thing I wish I didn't do was I wish I would have cut the miters facing up instead of down at the table like it was, because that can create a lot of tear out. But because I was very careful and I realized that at the time, I went slow and it didn't create any tear out. In this next part, I will be assembling the frame of the table. And as you can tell, that top brace is already on there. And that is because I started assembling this on my workbench, and then I realized it would be so much easier if I brought this down to the ground to assemble. And I assembled the bottom braces by using another brace as a spacer. And something I tried to do was line up the corners of the legs with the miters. And afterwards, I realized that was such a bad idea. I should have just not assembled the legs and assembled the braces with one part of the legs at a time. It'd be so much easier to line up the miters by using a square or just doing it by eye than trying to line up a miter with the corner. So I repeated the process of making another frame, and now I will be connecting the two frames together with 2 cross pieces and a lot of glue. And I will be using a lot of glue because those mitered edges are end grain, and end grain soaks up a lot of wood glue. So I just wanted to get a lot of wood glue on there so it makes a nice firm joint. And something I wanted to talk about is how in the last commentary I said braces, which really I meant cross pieces. In this next part, I will be adding wood filler to all the miters, screw holes, and any gap I find in the frame. Then, I will be sanding down the wood filler so it's flush with the wood. Like I said just a second ago, I am sanding down this wood filler so it is flush with the wood. And I do this because when I put on the paint, I don't want it to look uneven or there be bumps in the paint. So in this part of the video, I am painting the frame to my side table a nice dark green color, but something I should have done before painting is priming, because a primer seals what you're painting and covers up the imperfections that might be seen through the paint. And because I didn't prime the frame, I had to put 4 coats of paint on it, because the first 2 coats soaked in the wood, and after the rest were on, the wood filler was still really noticeable, whereas if I would have primed the frame first, then the wood filler wouldn't be able to be seen, and I wouldn't have had to do so many coats of paint. So now I will be measuring and cutting the boards for the top of my side table. So now I will be running the boards to the table saw to get rid of one edge of each board, then flipping them around to rip them down to 4 inches. So now I will be doing a cut that is mainly done on bandsaw because it is a lot safer. But I will be resawing my boards down to 3/4 inches on the table saw because that is just what I had. But if I was to do this again, I would take a lot more precautions. Like, I would have ran all the boards through at that height of the blade, then I would have adjusted my blade to the rest of the wood that's remaining, and then pass all the boards through again. So now, because resawing down boards on a table saw is so rough, I will be sanding down all the bumps and ridges and stuff that came from that using my belt sander to make the boards flat and smooth. So now I will be gluing and screwing on the boards to make the top of my side table. So now I will be priming the top of my table because, as I talked about before, it's best to prime before painting. So after putting 2 coats of primer on the top of my table, I will be putting 2 coats of black paint and coming back with the paintbrush to fill in all the seams. So this is the end of the project, and I would like to say I had so much fun making this project, and I had learned so much from making this project, like about painting and resawing. But now that I'm saying resawing, I would love to tell you that it is super dumb to resaw boards on a table saw. Use a bandsaw or preferably a planer. It is just unsafe, and the boards come out so rough, and you have to do so much sanding because of it, and your boards, like mine, will come out uneven and a little wonky. But I would like to say thank you for watching. Please like and share our videos, it really helps us out. And if you want more gaming or woodworking content, please subscribe. And go down in the description below, go to our Facebook and our Twitter, give us a like, follow us. And thank you for watching. Have a nice day.